good to see everybody. A couple of people we know are going to be out. Sorry we had to cancel last week, but we had people seem to be coming down with this, like, cough bug or whatever's going on. And anyway, I will be doing the drumming session today after this. So from here on out, it looks like I'll be doing most of those sessions, whatever time is left. I want to introduce a friend of mine. Y'all are welcome to come if you want. This is Sharon Jackman. It's a diabetes program, but if you want, we've got plenty of room today. If you want to listen to this, it's about mind. Tell them what it's about.
It applies to everyone. It's about breaking our bad habits before they break us, right? We all have too many of them. Breaking our bad habits before they break us.
Yeah, y'all are welcome to stay if you want.
That's a good habit. That's a good habit.
Yeah. Good deal. So, this is Sharon Jackman. I've known Sharon for about 6 or 7 years. We met in the Women in Networking group.
That's right.
She's spoken here several times and helped some people amazingly after they've met her. And we thought it would be appropriate for her to talk about how to break some bad habits today. And for those of you who just walked in, then we'll proceed and do another drumming session because it connects both parts of the brain hemisphere, as we've learned before, and it also can help break some bad habits.
That's right.
So
we'll be talking about that.
I'm going to give you Sharon. Does anybody want a bottle of water or anything before we start? Raise your hand. Okay, let me get that.
Awesome. Go for it. Go for it. So I'm delighted you guys are here. I understand most of you are on a diabetes journey, either pre-diabetic or diagnosed diabetic. What we're going to be talking about today applies to all of us, whether we have a diagnosis or not. It is one of the most common things that we struggle with at various times of our lives, but especially at times when we need to take control of our lives. So we're going to be talking about breaking your habits before they break you. I am Sharon Jackman. I am a board-certified hypnosis specialist, and I have been for 30 years. And today we're going to talk about one of the issues that seems to stand in the way of controlling chronic conditions like diabetes, pre-diabetes before you get there, other health issues, and in general the things that stand in our way of feeling our best over time. So who among us has ever had some kind of habit you wanted to break, like emotional eating, or, right? Or wanting to exercise and instead lying on the couch, right? All the things that keep us from really fulfilling what we know we can do with ourselves. We're going to talk about today, among other things, why the hardest part of changing isn't knowing what to do, but it's actually doing it, right? We know what to do or what not to do. We know how to do it or how not to do it. We just don't know why, but we just don't do it, right? You are not alone. You're going to find out today that this is a perfectly normal, natural experience. And once you understand how to break this circuit and change this experience, you will have more control over your life and your health than you ever thought possible. So, who among us has ever said, I'm going to eat really well today? I'm going to eat my fruits and vegetables, I'm going to drink plenty of water, I'm going to exercise, and then despite our best intentions, we find ourselves standing in front of the refrigerator or the freezer, staring at the ice cream, wondering how it happened, right? Perfectly normal situation. Did you ever see Bob Newhart when he played that therapist and someone came in with a problem and he said, I'm going to solve it in 5 minutes and it's going to cost nothing? She explained that she was afraid, she had a fear of being buried alive in a box. And he said, okay, I'm going to solve this problem for you. Ready? Stop it. Just stop it. And we wonder why we can't just stop it, these habits. And it drives us crazy trying to figure it out. So whether for you it is sweets, whether for you it is fried foods, whether for you it is carbs, whether for you it is lying on the couch, zoning out to TV when you know you should be exercising, There are so many habits that we confront every single day that hold us back from being fully balanced in our bodies and our minds and able to feel in control of what we're going through. So, we're going to start by addressing the elephant in the room. I know as soon as I mention the word hypnosis, most people say, I'm here to tell you, hypnosis is not at all what you think it is. It is not what you see in movies, it's not what you see on TV. I don't know if you can read that, but I'll read it to you. It is a relaxed yet alert state of inner awareness that gives you access to parts of your mind where you can dissolve the habits that are holding you back. We're going to talk a little bit about what it isn't. It is not mind control. What we see in movies is made up. It is dramatized. What we see in comedy shows, on college campuses, on cruises, they are having fun with people who are willing to have fun with them. What we do is something called, or what I do is something called clinical hypnosis, which is giving you power over your own mind. I like to tell people that if I could control other people's minds, I would still be married to my first husband. Didn't work. It's also not sleep, but what's interesting is hypnosis is the state between being awake and between being asleep. So we all pass in and out of hypnosis every single day. That's one of the times when we fall asleep, when we wake back up, but as you'll see in a moment, all throughout the day we're going through a state of hypnosis. Yes?
My husband did self-hypnosis on himself for a dental surgery.
Oh, awesome. And how did it work? Yeah, we can convince our mind of all kinds of things. I mean, who is it that said, I believe a million impossible things before noon? Well, we don't realize that we're hypnotized into doing these habits. We're believing these programs that are running through the back of our mind. That's why we can also change those programs. So we are no longer hypnotized by them, but we're free. It's also not barking like a dog and clucking like a chicken unless you really, really want to. I've never known anyone in my clinical office who really, really wanted to. Again, this is done on the cruise ships when people are having cocktails, on the college campuses when they're showing off. There are no dogs, no chickens, no ducks. Quacking like a duck doesn't exist unless you really, really want to. And we'll talk if you do. Again, we all go in and out of hypnosis every day. Every single time you daydream. How many times do we daydream during a week? That is a state of hypnosis. Every time you drive across town and realize, I haven't been paying attention to any of the turns, any of the lights, how did I even get here? It's what we call highway hypnosis. It is your inner mind taking control. And that's going to become very important as we talk about habits. Our brain likes to keep us safe, and in doing so, it likes to keep us efficient. So it keeps things automatic that we do repetitively. That's why you automatically find yourself standing in front of the freezer, pulling out the ice cream, when you told yourself several hours ago you were going to eat well today, right? Yes?
You brought up something that answered a question for me. Years ago, I was driving from Virginia to Connecticut, and I know part of it was because of my diabetes. I had a high sugar reaction, but I didn't know.
Wow.
And I couldn't remember from one point to another, and I was driving. And what you were saying reminded me of that.
Yeah.
So, was me, but wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, think about when we first learned to drive. Who remembers when we first learned to drive? Driver's ed in high school when we were just about to run over the teacher. There were so many things we had to keep in mind. How to work the pedals, how to work the gear shift, how to turn, how to brake. Now we could do it in our sleep, as, sometimes we do, right? So, or it feels like we do. I guarantee, though, had you been driving and another car swerved into your lane, you would have immediately alerted and thrown on the brakes. Because that's the part of us that just made this a habit. It made driving a habit. And so sometimes those habits can be very good. Sometimes they can work against our health. Have you ever been so wrapped up in a good book you didn't notice time passing, or you didn't notice other people coming in and out of the room? That is a natural state of hypnosis. Or if you've ever been so involved in a Netflix movie that you're feeling emotional with the main characters, even though it's not even true, that is a natural state of hypnosis. We go in and out of it every single day. It was approved by the AMA in 1958, so it's very established. It was approved by the National Institutes of Health in 1995. It is endorsed by the Mayo Clinic. And the Mayo Clinic says hypnosis can help you gain control over unwanted habits and issues like stress, anxiety, pain, like that dental procedures, fears and phobias, even hot flashes and sleep problems. Can I hear a hallelujah for the hot flashes? Although you're open to suggestion during hypnosis, you don't lose control over your behavior during a session. So everyone I ever worked with, not everyone, but most of them, has said, this is not what I thought it was. We think of hypnosis as someone's going to put me under. That's not the case. When you're sitting in my seat in my office, you might feel so relaxed and so comfortable, you feel like you're just melting into the chair. Or you may feel light and airy, like you're floating. Or you may feel like you're just sitting there listening to me talk to you. It is all correct. It is the same way you feel when you're daydreaming, when you're resting. We simply know how to use that state of mind to give you back control over your life. So I say all this just so we can get the elephant out of the room and go on with our discussion about habits. Because we all come to habits for a very good reason. Like I said, our brain likes to habituate things to make them efficient. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but a lot of us when we were kids were playing hopscotch, on the front driveway. These were the days when we had the chalk and we would actually draw the hopscotch, map on the driveway. And then something happens, we fall, we skin our knees. Many of us had mothers who came up, said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, kissed it, maybe washed it, put a Band-Aid on, and gave us a piece of chocolate or gave us a lollipop. The next time we fall down, we're waiting. Mother comes, we're waiting for the kiss, the smooch, the Band-Aid, the lollipop, the chocolate. And our brain says, this works. We're going to lock this in. Whenever you're uncomfortable, you're going to get a craving for something sweet. We're not going to overthink it. It's not going to be like when we first learned to drive. We're not going to go through that over and over. We're just going to make it automatic. It is as simple and non-threatening as that. Our habits actually fulfill a need we had at some point in our lives. When they're working against us, it's because we've outgrown them. But our brain doesn't know that. So we're going to be talking today about how to break that cycle so your brain can catch up with your best intentions for yourself. So that's why we can't just stop it. We're not even aware when it's happening. I mean, this is the ultimate example of hypnosis. Again, when you say you're going to do your best and then find yourself reaching for the Lay's bag without even thinking about it, or finding yourself sitting in front of the TV and you're eating it and you don't even know when it happened. That is a state of hypnosis. We're going to be breaking that state, and I'm going to be showing you how to do it today. So here's one of the big things I want you to take away, and why you can understand this isn't you, meaning it's not your fault you can't stop this. If we think of the iceberg as a metaphor for the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, the smallest part of the iceberg is the part that's above sea level. That's like the conscious mind. That is where your willpower is. Your conscious mind is responsible for 5% of your brain power, just 5. The subconscious mind, or the unconscious mind, where these automatic behaviors like breathing and habits reside, that's responsible for 95% of your brain power, right? So when it's a choice, when you're using your willpower up here and you've got 5% of your brain power, but the problem is down here, I like to say the subconscious always wins. So it's not your fault that you can't just say, stop it. What I'm going to give you today are tools for you to actually break the cycle. So there is a filter in our mind that separates the conscious mind from the unconscious mind. I call that the bouncer. It dictates what we will allow to enter our mind and what doesn't. That's why these habits we're dealing with today often started when we were very, very young. Even that 6-year-old child who was falling and having mom come and give us a chocolate, they start when we're very, very young, when we don't necessarily have those filters. And we can accept other habits as we go along, but do you ever notice how hard it is to create a new habit when you're already going, in one direction in your day-to-day life, right? It's because we have this filter that stops things from becoming automatic sometimes. So with hypnosis and with the techniques you'll be learning today to do on your own, anywhere, at any time, we relax that part of your mind so you have access to 100% of your brain power. This is how you change these habits. Now, what's interesting to note is there are things you can do to break this spell. No habit, let me back it up. No craving can stay in your body for longer than 90 seconds. No emotion or sensation can stay in your body for longer than 90 seconds. If we have a craving, which we usually have with a thought, oh, I wonder if, that flan from dinner last night is still in the refrigerator. We have a feeling or a craving, this sudden desire pops up, we go get it. But if we were to really pay attention, all these sensations have a cycle. They rise up, we find ourselves going to get the flan, and then they go back down. If we had waited for it to rise up and go back down, that moment would have passed. However, it feels like it doesn't, does it? It feels like that moment continues to haunt us. I got to get the Lay's, I got to get the ice cream, I got to get the bread, whatever it is. It's because our mind is triggering these thoughts over and over and over again. So we're going to be talking about ways to catch yourself before and during these moments so that you can relax your nervous system, calm your mind and body, go about what you want to do. And as you do this a number of times, your brain says, that works. Let's lock that in. You can absolutely lose a craving for good.
So it's like reprogramming.
It is exactly that. It is deprogramming and then sometimes reprogramming. So this is why we can do things with hypnosis like help people quit smoking that have tried everything. We can in one or two sessions help people stop a habit. Doesn't matter how long they've smoked, doesn't matter how many they've smoked. Habits like those, when we have the right conditions, can be turned off, can be freed from your body. Grabbing the drinking. People who drink and don't want to drink, that's a habit that can be freed from your body, your mind. Getting up in the middle of the night to eat, that's a habit. Eating the things that you know are not good for you, they raise your blood sugar, they cause issues, right? Those are habits. We're going to be talking about breaking those with some simple exercises. You've got the handouts. So as we go through this and do it together, know that you'll have those to refer to.
Sounds like AA for diabetes.
I love it. That's brilliant. So, when we have a craving, when we have stress or anxiety, when we have a habit, it's usually, as we said, kind of programmed into the brain, and it's usually firing up one particular part of the brain. For you, I don't know whether it's in your left brain or your right brain. For most people, it tends to be in the left brain, but it's different for everyone. But what happens is when that neural network fires off, it's as if it loses contact with all the other parts of the brain that can calm it down. What we're going to be doing today is balancing both hemispheres of our brain, essentially. When we do that, what happens is we increase the blood flow throughout our entire brain, and wherever that habit was lighting up, when we enhance the neural networks around it to connect with it, to encourage what was overworking, to find new pathways, it's like a river that suddenly gets funneled off into streams, right? And suddenly what was once a raging river is this little bubbling brook until it turns into nothing. This is what we're doing. We're increasing your brain's ability to, in essence, drain off that trigger that's lighting up your neural pathway in one particular area. That's a little bit of the science behind it. Everything I do has got science behind it. I'm a big believer in knowing what is happening in the brain when we use these techniques. So we're going to start with the first one, and I'm actually going to demonstrate this for you, and then I want you to do it with me. Would you hold this for me? You can stay there. So what I want you to do is, well, let me just say this. For all of these, when you find yourself having a craving, what I want you to do is notice 0 to 10, how intense is it? And don't, belabor it. Is it a 6? Is it a 7? 10 being the most intense, 0 being nothing. Just notice where it is. And then I'm going to show you these techniques that allow you to bring it down to a 0. So I'm going to ask you to do this with me. You're not going to be able to, but follow along. Cross your hands across your shoulders. And now I want you to stroke down your arms to your elbows and stop. And then pick your arms up and do it again. And stroke down to your elbows and stop. And do it again. And now I want you to close your eyes and continue to stroke your arms. Just feel that caressing sensation from the inside. That soft, gentle feeling, as if someone who loves you very much is just stroking down your arms, saying it's going to be okay. Feel it from the inside. Notice what it feels like under your palms. And now I want you to hum a little tune with me. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Doesn't matter how you sound, everyone's going to sound different. It's going to be in your own sphere, your own mind. And open your eyes. That is what we call bilateral stimulation. What you were doing was crossing your midline and touching both sides of your body across your midline. You were opening up the hemispheres in your mind. The other thing you were doing, because these habits, not always, but often tend to reside in the left part of the mind, the left hemisphere, that is predominantly known for things like order and language, reasoning, where the right hemisphere, and these are generalizations, is known for things like music and abstract thinking and poetry. When you stimulate, when you hum a song, you are stimulating, they say, the right hemisphere of the mind. So you are further moving that signal, releasing it from the left hemisphere and moving it to the right. And notice how soothing it felt. So that is one of 3 moves you're going to have on a handout there that is all about creating a safe haven for your body. These particular moves have been shown to relax the nervous system, to create the slower brain waves in the brain that allow you just to let go and allow that 90 seconds to pass. I'm going to show you 2 more of these moves that go with this particular exercise. You may love all 3 of them. You may love 1 or 2 of them. The key is whatever works for you. So as we go through these exercises, I want you to try them over the next week or 2. Some of them you're absolutely going to love. Some of them are going to be, no big deal. Yes?
So, okay. If I'm standing in the grocery store in front of the ice cream section,
Oh,
and now, so am I actually comforting my inner child when I'm doing this?
that is a great question. I'm going to get to that. Actually, I'll tell you now. These 3 moves do for us what we do as parents for newborns, and what I like to think people who loved us once did for us. You know how you know just where to rub? Looking in a child's arm, the hands, the face, the feet. I'm sure if it was socially acceptable, we could be rubbing the bottom of our feet at times like this, but not in the grocery store. At home would be lovely. But you are, in essence, giving your brain what it needs to let go of that habit. And it often is what we did or didn't get when we were young. But you bring up a good point. Who in the world is going to stop in the frozen foods aisle and cross their arms and start humming to themselves, right? That's why, fortunately, we have this next move, and I'm going to show you this too, if you wouldn't mind. And you'll do this in a moment. Take your hands and just caress them. That's right. And close your eyes and just feel that sensation. We have so many nerve endings in the palms of our hands, the tips of our fingers. Just feel that sensation. You can do this anytime, anywhere, in any grocery store checkout line, and people will just think you're thinking deeply. I use this anywhere. I once used it when I was scheduled to give a presentation to 8 people. I had misconstrued the information in my mind. I showed up and there were about 80 people. And if you had seen me right here in this room, standing up at the front, before I got on, you would have seen me smiling and stroking my hands. And I stood up and gave the presentation, and it was just beautiful. But I use that every day, on and off. Again, it can break that cycle of a habit. You're just noticing before you start, 0 to 10, how intense is this? And you're using these moves until you get them to a 0. And then you walk away and do something else. after doing this again, I don't know if it'll be 1 day, 2 days, 4 days for you, your brain says, okay, that's our new normal. So I'm going to show you the third move in creating a safe haven for yourself. Thank you very much. So if you wouldn't mind just taking your fingers and putting them up in your forehead and just stroking your forehead. Just feeling that sensation. Just like you would stroke the forehead of a baby or a child, whether yours, a grandchild, a friend's
I
child.
used to do that to my daughter when she was little.
And we do it naturally without even thinking, right? It's an automatic response to calm the nervous system. And a baby is one of two ways: completely alert or completely. This is what you're doing. And now stroke down your face and just feel that caressing sensation. And then just continue to stroke as you close your eyes and just notice how good it feels. Yeah. Who likes this one? Who doesn't like this one? So it's interesting. Again, some people love all three of these. Some people love one or two. Some people have one as their go-to. The number one that most people use tends to be the caressing of the arms and the hands, because again, you can do that anywhere. So those are, you can see the images on your handout. You've got a little photo showing you essentially to remind you of rubbing your arms, rubbing your face, rubbing your hands. Now we're going to do something that you can do anywhere, again, at any time. It's got a really beautiful way of bringing you right here, right now. This might be a little tricky, but I'm going to ask you to look at the opposite wall of whatever you're looking at, and I'm going to get out of your way. And I want you just to find a spot on the opposite wall that might be a little above eye level, and I want you just to look at it for just a moment. And as you look at it, I want you to soften your gaze. So you're starting to expand into your peripheral vision. You're starting to notice, without even moving your head or your eyes, all the space around that spot. And then continue to open up your peripheral vision so you're aware of more of the space around it. And continue to do it so that you become aware, without even moving your head or your eyes, of the space to the left of you and the right of you, maybe even above and below. And continue to expand it so that it almost feels like you're reaching into the space behind you. Almost like you can imagine or pretend that you have 360-degree vision. And now relax, and you can look at me again. What was that like for you? Was it easy for you? Yeah. Could you think of anything else while you were doing it? No. So it's that simple. It's got a way of grounding you back in your body in this moment. So this is one that you can use anywhere. You can use it while you're sitting at the bank. You can use it while you're sitting at an office. You can use it while you're sitting in your doctor's office, while you're waiting for them to finish up whatever they're going on and on about. Don't tell them. You can use it anywhere to stop that obsessive thinking. And then in that process and of breaking that circuit, you are allowing your brain to change. Please.
Okay. All of these exercises require us to be in the moment. And then as an adult, we have like a 7-page list of things that we're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
And 5 million places that we need to go.
Yep.
So in order for us to get there, and take that silo or that pause. So that almost feels like meditation in a way. But
Yeah.
my point I'm trying to get to is, if we're so focused on who we have to take care of, where we have to go and what we have to do, how do we get from there to take a moment, rub your hands or cross your shoulders, cut your arms?
That is a great question, and it is a reality, right? We're often caring for ourselves, caring for others, doing. This is what you do, and it's not requiring you to be in the moment beforehand. It's requiring you to notice the moment that you have this craving. And it won't happen at first automatically. At first, you'll probably notice, oh yeah, I just went to the refrigerator without thinking, and I just heard from Sharon yesterday that this is a habit. It just requires you noticing in that moment and doing something that takes about 90 seconds. Just noticing if you're at an 8, when you're done after a moment or two, where are you now? Are you at a 6? Are you at a 4? These things should not take long, but what they're doing is actually helping you reclaim your time. Because habits hijack us. They hijack our time, they hijack our energy. It is like caring for another child on top of everything else we're caring for. This is not meditation. I'm not going to ask you to find 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening to sit and do nothing. There is some real power to things like mindfulness, becoming aware of our thoughts, that those aren't really us, those are just things like clouds passing through the sky. But that takes time and that takes skill. This is attached to something you're already doing anyway. And it's for those things that you want to stop doing. There are also things that you may want to start doing, like exercising, right? That's a different kind of pattern. Those kinds of patterns work well when we attach them to something we're already doing. So we're talking about turning down the sound on something that we catch ourselves doing anyway. If we want to start like walking 15 minutes in the morning, it's best if you choose something you're already doing anyway. Like every time I brush my teeth, I'm going to walk out the door. That's how I started making my bed years ago. I decided every time I brush my teeth, I'm going to make the bed. Now, after all these years, do I need to make the bed right after I brush my teeth? No, but I guarantee in the morning, if I don't make my bed, I feel like something's left undone, and I make it happen. So this is about making those things that you're already doing stop, or sometimes the things that you're not doing yet start. So it is not something that I expect you to set time aside for. It's just something that I'll ask you just to begin to notice. Oh, is this a habit that I think is good for me, that I enjoy, that's making me healthier and stronger? Or is this working against me? A lot of times your doctors will tell you whether something is ultimately working against you or not. So if I could wave a magic wand, believe me, a lot of people think hypnosis is a magic wand, and it can seem very magical because we can do things sometimes in just a few sessions that people struggle to change in years. But if I had a magic wand and I can just say it's over, I would do it. No, this is just a matter of catching yourself doing what you're already doing. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm going to pass out something because I think we're about to go on to a different exercise. Let me see. Yes. So this is similar to this is bilateral stimulation. Let me see if I've got this. Okay. Would you do me a favor? Would you open this bag and take out one ball and then pass the bag to everyone else? I'm going to ask you to pull this ball out, but you can do this with anything. This too is another one of those things you can do anywhere, anytime. People will think you're just passing time. It is similar to crossing your arms over your chest and stroking your arms, but you can do this with a ball, you can do this with a cell phone, you can do this with a water bottle, anything you can hold in your hands. I'm gonna, oh, that ball's running away, why don't you go ahead and get another one? There you go, I've got plenty of them. Yeah. And then I'll bring you a ball too. Oh, did we? We'll have to find it afterwards so that no one trips over it. No, you can stay there. Go ahead and grab a ball.
Okay.
And I will do it too. So, this is super, super simple. It seems a little weird at first, but it's not. It's super simple. Would you mind holding that? So, I'm going to ask everyone but you to hold that ball in front of you in both hands. And what we're going to do is take the ball now in your right hand and swing it out to your right while you keep the other hand in the middle, and then pass the ball to the other hand and swing it out to the left, keeping the hand that's doesn't have the ball in the middle. Try not to smack your neighbor unless you really want to, but that's another story. And that's funny. And we're just going to pass the ball back and forth. Back and forth. That's it, just back and forth. And then, if you can, close your eyes for a moment and just pass it back and forth. That's right. It is this simple to open up both hemispheres of your brain, to reduce a craving, to reduce stress, anxious feelings, racing thoughts. It is that easy. And if you wouldn't mind holding this for a moment, what were you going to ask?
I have a question. How do I be
Oh,
stressed?
good.
Because I'm, in 31 days from now, I'm moving from here to Vermont.
Wow.
And I am so stressed. Every day I pack, a couple of boxes at a time.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do anymore. And the more I talk to myself, say, calm down, Christine, calm down. And then I get even sicker. I get diarrhea, and it's really affecting my entire system.
I can understand. And it doesn't help just to tell yourself to calm down, right? That's like saying, stop
people
it.
tell me that, oh,
I might as well just be
it's
saying,
easy for them to
stop it.
say, and
Yeah. So we're about to cover another exercise that I really want you to practice.
Okay.
So first of all, these are big changes you're making. It's exciting, It's where are you going to Vermont, you said?
exciting, but Vermont. And,
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've been here for 35 years, so,
Yeah.
it's,
Bittersweet.
yes.
Yeah, so you'll really want to be very tender with yourself. Some of these exercises that you've learned so far may be perfect, but there's one in particular that I'm going to suggest you practice. But before I do this, I'm going to hand you this. And who among us has grandchildren? Right? This is a great thing to teach them. You can give them a ball, but again, bilateral stimulation. Cross your shoulders and just tap. We call this butterfly kisses. If they ever get nervous at school, you can have them cross their hands and tap their alternating knees under a desk. Does the same thing. Opens up the brain, brings the blood flow from the midbrain and the survival centers, the brainstem, up into the prefrontal cortex so you can think clearly, right? You ever wonder why you get into an argument with someone and you're so uncomfortable and angry, and then you walk away and suddenly you think of everything that you should have said? That's because when we go into moments of stress, our prefrontal cortex, the part of us that can reason, that can come up with these great arguments, goes offline. The blood flow goes to the midbrain and the lower brain, which are our survival centers. They're preparing us to fight or flee or fawn, right? And so these simple exercises can not only keep us calm, but they can help us think clearly. Teach them to your kids and to your grandkids. They will appreciate it and the world will be better off because of it. So let me go to the next one, see where we are. All right, so this is the one, this is box breathing. This is the one I want you to practice. This was developed by the Navy SEALs to use in high intense situations. And the way I see it in my office, if the Navy SEALs can use it when they are flying into other countries to do whatever high intense things they're doing, we can do it when we find ourselves wandering to the freezer getting the Oreo ice cream out, right? It works. So let me mention, when we go into a state of, say, anxiety or even panic, we tend to actually suddenly take a deep breath. You'll find that with this, we're balancing breathing with holding our breath. When we breathe too quickly and too deeply, it actually throws the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide that's responsible for bringing, oxygen to our cells out of balance. This is why we suddenly start breathing deeply, and then now the next thing we know, we're hyperventilating. This is a way, if that ever happens and you go into panic, hold your breath. Hold your breath, 10 or 15 seconds. And then relax and you can do what I'm about to teach you. It is simple box breathing. What this means is, I'm going to explain it and then we're going to do it together. You're going to breathe in to a count of 4. You're going to hold your breath to a count of 4. You're going to breathe out to a count of 4. And you're going to hold your breath to a count of 4. Now, before I show you this, let me tell you, a lot of people will tell you, breathe out longer than you breathe in to relax the nervous system. That is true. When our exhale is longer than the inhale, it tells our vagus nerve that has every effect on our parasympathetic nervous system that we're safe to relax. But when you're in times of real stress, like you're a Navy SEAL, it's easier to go to something that's rhythmic and automatic, that you don't have to think about any variables, and you're interspersing breathing with holding your breath. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to simply exhale, and then I'm going to count to 4. I'm going to say inhale, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to tell you to hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. If you get it wrong, don't worry about it. Just keep going and you'll catch up. This is such a valuable technique to learn because it's so automatic. It's like just breathing around a box. This is the one I would really practice a lot in the coming days. So, shall we try it together? All right, so go ahead and just naturally exhale. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and relax. It is that simple. But again, those moments of breath holding interspersed with breathing just helps regulate what's coming in to your lungs and what's going out, and can relax your nervous system. Does that make sense? I'm also going to walk you through another exercise here. And if you choose to, it's entirely up to you, you can sign up to get this audio. In a moment, I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet. I'm not going to send you anything else. except this audio and a sleep audio, a very short sleep audio that can help you if you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. I would recommend you use those to help you over this next couple weeks. So I'm going to pass this around. Feel free to, I've got business cards if you'd like them, but again, if you'll just make sure you write legibly, I will send this to you over the next few days by email. You'll be able just to listen to it on your own, but this is my favorite technique. Again, these habits, these stresses that we're dealing with, they create these patterns in the brain, and after a while, it can feel like all we feel, the stress, the strain, the anxiousness. We live in a world that trains our brains to stay in a negativity bias, to be careful of everything that's happening. Everything is a danger, everything is high stress. It can forget how to create the chemicals in our body that actually make us feel good. So what I recommend doing is giving yourself a dose of joy every single day for a bit. This is not forever, but while you're going through the process of training your brain to feel good, so it doesn't need anything like, carbs to make that happen for you. You're going to do it on your own. And I'm going to walk you through it in just a moment. Actually, we're going to do that now. And don't worry about signing up for the sheet. We'll send that around afterwards. But for just a moment, if you wouldn't mind just closing your eyes. And just take a slow breath. And with this one, if you choose, you can make the exhale longer than the inhale. And I want you to imagine that you're standing in front of the front door of your home, whatever that looks like. And if you can't imagine it, you can just pretend. That works just as well. And if your front door isn't white, I want you to imagine painting it white. And now I want you to imagine painting it blue. And now I want you to imagine painting it yellow and putting purple flowers on it. Now I want you to think of someone or something you absolutely adore. Could be a person, could be a pet or a kind of animal, could even be a place or an activity. My clients choose everything from a grandchild to a beloved dog to sailing on a beautiful lake. Whatever it is, the key is there's nothing negative about it. No conflict, just you love it. You just love it. And whatever it is you're thinking about that you absolutely adore, I want you to imagine that you could gather it up in your arms and squeeze it right up against your chest, just like a big hug. And I want you to breathe in everything you love about this thing you love. Thinking about how it feels, how it lights you up. And as you do that, as you think about everything you love about this thing you love, notice where you light up on the inside. Be like a little spark just glowing inside. That's a spark that I get when I think of holding one of my grandkids. I can feel it in my heart, in my chest. Some people feel it in their throat. Some people feel it in their diaphragm. Notice where you feel it. And as you think about all the things you love about it, allow it to become even more beautiful. And imagine it as if it is a beautiful ball of energy. And notice if that sensation, that good feeling had a color, what it would be. And don't overthink it, just your first thought. Notice if it had a sound, what it might be. Notice if it had a fragrance, an aroma, what it might be. And just breathe it in. And send it like the beautiful ball of energy it is all the way to the top of your head. And all the way down through your body, through the soles of your feet. If you can feel it in front of your heart, send it behind your heart. And sometimes you can feel it so strongly, you can just allow it to pop right out of your skin. So you've got that sense of joy in you while you're floating in a bubble of it. That's right. And whenever you're ready, gently opening your eyes, feeling good. It does feel good, doesn't it? That is a muscle. That is you switching your brain chemistry from the negativity bias to creating the chemicals in your body that feel good. We often forget, we often think happiness, joy, love, ease, those are things outside of us. I want you to practice this and notice this is yours. This good feeling lives in your body. This is a muscle to be exercised. And when you do it enough, your body will remember that good feeling before you do. I will tell you a quick story about how I discovered this. But first, let me just tell you, I'm going to send you an audio if you choose. You can listen to that. This will trigger that dose of joy. You want to practice it daily if you can, but the goal is not to do it forever. It's to get it so where you can turn it on demand. That's right. Have you ever noticed that when we're falling in love, we're not hungry? Right? Maybe it's been a bit, when we're wrapped up in something that we're enjoying, we're not distracted by the old habits that might be hijacking us. The more we can use this technique to stay and to turn that joy on demand, the more it will cut those links with the old habits. But I'll tell you how I discovered this. In my 20s, I noticed I had a really strange pattern with money. I would get what I called found money, money that I didn't expect, whether it was a birthday check, whether I had a deposit with a utility company and they refunded it because I was a good customer, whatever it was, I would have money fall into my lap. And because I was in my 20s, I would celebrate with all the ways I was going to spend it. Was I going to go away for a weekend with my friends? Was I going to go out to dinner? Within a few days, I would get a bill for almost the exact amount. That's what I said. Great, right? So all this money I kept getting would be taken away from me. And I would be so disappointed. And I noticed it happening over and over until one day in my 20s, I was talking to a friend, telling her about this terrible habit, and she said, "Shut up." I said, "What?" She said, "You are the luckiest person in the world and you don't even know it." And I thought, huh. She said, "Every time you need money, it falls in your lap." And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? And I started tracking it. And I started showing it to people. I would show them the check I received, and then I would say, "Look at this bill." And it was almost within $5. And I would find myself saying, I don't know what it is, but when it comes to money, everything always works out for me. And I did this over the years until one day I was going through a divorce. And until then, my husband and I had run everything through one account, and I was the one that managed all that. And from that one account that we'd had for 22 years, all of our car payments came out of it, all of our mortgage payments came out of it, all of our school, the kids' tuition. And we had decided we were going to keep it that way while we went through this divorce because it was working really well. Until the day I came home and he said, "I've decided that I'm going to put my check into another account. Let me know what I owe you." Well, he didn't know that we were about to have all these payments hit, and for the first time ever, perhaps bounce a bunch of checks. And I was panicked. It was like the world dropped out from underneath of me. And I went to find him. And of course, we weren't communicating well on the best of days. And I said, in a much different voice than this, "What are you thinking?" Much louder, much sterner. He shut down.
We have to go at doctor's appointment.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you could join us here. Thank you for
Can
this.
get that audio to your...
Yes, did you sign up for it? As long as you go ahead and sign up for it. Yes, please. So go ahead, and if you wouldn't mind just signing that really quickly, do you mind letting them sign their name first and bring it back? Okay, good.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. I'm glad you were here with us. So I'll make this quick. He didn't want to hear it any more than he wanted to hear, right, when I was upset anytime. So he went and hid in the bedroom. And I stood up to go into another room, and as I was standing up, all of a sudden I felt this strange feeling, and I stopped in my tracks. Is that an alarm?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I get it. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
We're setting up. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just have like another 30 seconds. So I had this weird feeling, and I stopped in my tracks, and I said, "What is this?" I felt it bubbling up from my hips. I got to my heart, and I realized it was a feeling of pure and utter joy. Pure and utter joy. I'm like, "What is this?" And it got to my head, it kept rising up, and it hit my head, and I thought, oh, that's right. When it comes to money, everything always works out for me. And I did not try to make myself feel happy or joyful. This was what was otherwise a devastating moment. My body remembered before my mind did. I went and found my husband. I said, "It's going to be okay. I don't know how, but it's going to be okay." He was so disarmed by that, my attitude, that he put all the money back in. And it stayed there throughout our divorce. So play with this so that your body and brain remembers this truth of how happy you can be and free of these old habits even before you do. Thank you very much.